Hello and welcome back. We are here with another edition of American Voices, and I am sitting across from an amazing human being, Dr. Monica Reyes, and she is running in City Council in El Paso, Texas, and she finds herself in a runoff. So, Dr. Reyes, Monica, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be back. I appreciate this.
It's super exciting. Now, tell me, how many people did you run against for City Council District 1?
So it was pretty crowded. We had 4 opponents, or there were 4 of us total. And as of course, with the runoff, the top 2 with the highest votes then participate in a runoff election. And I was very fortunate that El Paso said, Monica Reyes, we believe in you. Thank you, El Paso, and put me in the top 2.
Absolutely. You know, I was looking at the numbers, and the other person that is in the runoff is Alejandra Chavez, yes. And she has her own story, but we're here focusing on you. The difference was only 2,877 votes when it was all said and done, which is really a precinct, which is, I mean, it's very small numbers. And in the early vote, it was even smaller than that, 512 votes. So we want to explore in this podcast why you want to run for city council. In a previous show, we talked about your 30 plus years as an administrator, being fiscally responsible, having your transparency, life in education. You're a mom of 2 amazing young men, and you have a real sense of family and community. You know, with all that said, Monica, what are you going to bring to City Council that will be inspiring for all of your citizens in District 1?
So the first thing I will tell you is when I made the decision to run for City Council, I had to think long and hard and say, is this something that is, first of all, I have the ability to do and the time to do. And the second thing is, am I a person who is worthy to be in City Council? I am very fortunate, as you said, as a proud mom of 2. I have an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. My 18-year-old is recently graduated in 2024 from Canutillo High School, and he's now attending UTSA in San Antonio. And he has experienced many different things in the short time that he's been away and in college. And during that time period, we've had some great conversations. And one of those conversations we had was, Mom, not sure if I'm going to come back to El Paso. I'm devastated as a mom.
Now, UTSA is a part of the UT system.
Yes, it is.
That's the University of Texas at San Antonio, for all those that don't know. So,
correct. Thank you.
That's the sister university of UTEP, right?
Correct.
Which we have right here in El Paso. So he's at UTSA, he's studying there, and he tells you, Mom, I don't think I'm going to come back. And why is that, Monica?
And so I asked him that, why? And he tells me, Mom, there's so much here in San Antonio. I mean, we can do so many different things here. And I don't know, am I going to be able to find a job? He's following the footsteps of Mom when it comes to receiving a bachelor's. He's working on his bachelor's in business, looking at possibly management information systems. He's still not sure what he's doing.
Well, he's a freshman. Yeah,
he's a freshman. Yes. But he knows business is where he wants to go. And so he's like, do I know if there's anything that's going to be available for me in El Paso? Are they going to be able to hire me with the credentials that I have? Number 1. Number 2, Mom, I hear you complain about your mortgage. I hear how you say, oh, no, it went up again.
Right.
Oh, my gosh, we're having to deal with this, and we're going to have to make sure that our finances are intact. And am I going to be able to afford? Because, Mom, I want to buy a house. I don't want to do an apartment where I'm just pouring money in and not having an asset myself.
Right.
Proud of him for saying that. But I understand. So if we're not making our city affordable, if we're not enticing and providing programs and social developments and anything that we can do to entice our young to stay, if we're not working on the brain drain, then many families like myself are going to find themselves in a situation where their children may not come home. And if they don't come home, then they're not going to build their families here. And I'm not going to be able to see my grandchildren on a
Exactly.
regular basis. I'm
Right.
going to have to travel. So that's important to me because, and I did, when we had that conversation, I told him, son, you understand, this is your home. This is where we have rooted our family traditions. This is where we're built. All of our family is from El Paso, and we all have worked so hard to help El Paso through our own professions. And he says, I understand, Mom. I mean, I'm just telling you, I don't know. And so what did that do to me? Since I was already thinking about city council, I think that pushed me over and said, all right, now it's my turn as a proud, motivated mom to say, how can I help the families of El Paso, continue to help them, moving and expanding my universe to the city versus just a school district. And that's why I'm doing it, because I want to be able to take my skills, my experience, my contacts, my journey of wanting to continue to serve people. And I think this was the natural step. It just happened that, Brian Kennedy was leaving the position and it opened up. So I want to help El Paso thrive. I want to find things that I can do to support our families and the residents of District 1, but the city of El Paso.
Absolutely. You brought up Brian Kennedy. He left his post, District 1, and is himself right now in a runoff.
Correct.
There were 9 people running, I think 8 by the time it was all said and done. And so he's in a runoff. Brian is a person who's run the sports commission here. He has a long history as well. And so he is in the same runoff, but in the mayor's race. And so when we talk about fiscal responsibility, I think that that's really important to address. You have, over the past 30 years, gone through tons of budgets. You've had to be able to do that at the administrative level, as an executive director, as a principal, assistant principal, et cetera. So in that 30 years, I think you've built that understanding and also that awareness of what it takes to crunch numbers. You spoke before about your business and finance background. And so I think that's fantastic, and I commend you for running, because it takes courage, it takes stamina, it takes so much to be able to run in any climate, much less one where you're going to be in a runoff. We know that we've had about 30% drop in voter participation this year. So we had folks stay home. It is a presidential year, as many of us know. But we also had our mayor's race, and we had 6 of the 8 city councils. So we're seeing a real transformation right now in city politics, which is going to really chart the course moving forward. Looking at that, Monica, I've gone through your website, and I just want to say, great job on this. I want to just highlight some of the endorsements that you've received. And so looking at that, you have been endorsed by the Frontera, by the Paso del Norte Tejanos, by the Central Labor Union. I know one of the folks that you ran against, Tom.
Yes, Tom Handy, correct.
Has now endorsed you and throwing his support behind your campaign. So tell us what that means to you in terms of community support and outreach. And I don't know if there are any other endorsements out there since the time of this posting, but tell us what that means to you to have community support, to have all these folks behind you in District 1.
Well, first of all, it's an honor. It's an honor, and I'm humbled. The fact that they saw who I was, what I stand for, and they felt that I aligned with their aspirations, their ambitions, and what they stand for. I'm very happy about that. I'm very grateful. I also have the El Paso Young Democrats that did endorse me as well, and I'm grateful because they have offered to block walk with me, and so I'm thrilled about that as well. I will tell you, in any elected campaign journey, the endorsements are fantastic, and I do appreciate all of those endorsements. What I will say is the block walking is probably the most valuable for me at this point, or probably for any elected official or a candidate, because you get to actually face to face have conversations with the residents that you are asking to represent and are asking to serve. And I've just had so many different conversations, and they've enlightened me. I will tell you, through this whole journey, I have become a very changed person. As much as I have been as an administrator and a public servant, in this journey, it has just brought so much revelation and reflection for me, to know that I am the person that can do this, because I have no issue when a person is standing at the door telling me, you know what, there's no amenities, and where our taxes are too high, and why is that? Why am I paying for school taxes? And they're elevated. I don't work to elevate and escalate them. I try to de-escalate, and I try to understand the problem. So I try to peel those layers to understand and be able to assist if I can. And then I want to be part of the solution. I really want to be that person who is trying to resolve it. If there are situations that we can't, then I want to be that person who at least communicates and says, let me tell you why. Let me tell you what's happening. Let me tell you how far we've gone or where we are with it. Because many times our residents don't even know that. So my goal is to make sure that I represent well, and that I am serving the residents of District 1 and the city of El Paso. I just think that's an honor.
You know, there's been a lot said about your opponents and where the money comes from. So what I like about your campaign is that this is a grassroots, people-centered campaign. And so folks are out there block walking, they're volunteering for you. And as much as we want to take money out of politics, we know that it's there. And so we know that there are investors, there are folks that are trying to handpick the next city council. And that too is linked to the mayor's race, where there's over $1 million being spent on a local city council race. And so your opponent is receiving monies from a small group of families and some investors, some outside investors, et cetera. And we know that she's had some failed businesses. So what does it mean to you to have grassroots support and a people-powered campaign that you're running?
And as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't bother me what affiliation anyone is. The bottom line is this is about El Paso, this is about El Paso residents, and this is about everyone. And so my goal is to work for the people, because it's by the people and it's of the people. And that's what it stands for. And so it's for all residents. Do I want to work with anyone who's trying to grow El Paso and provide economic development? Absolutely. And I hope that at the end of this, what results come out of this, and if I am elected, I am there to support all residents. That is what grassroots is about. It's about doing the right thing. It's about doing the right thing for people and about doing the right thing for El Paso. We have such an amazing community here, full and rich of culture, rich of tradition, rich of family oriented roots. And I want to make sure that as we're operating in City Council, the team of 8 City Council members plus the team inclusion of the mayor and the city manager working with the departments, that we're all working together. It is a pivotal time. You are correct. It's a pivotal time where change is going to happen. It's inevitable. And I thrive on change, and I love to work with change. And so that's why threw my name in the hat and said, let me help and be part of this. So as far as grassroots is concerned, 100% all the way about listening to people and understanding their situations, their issues, and then working through it with them.
I know you have budget experience, and property taxes is one of the big deals out there. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at the 2025 proposed budget for next year, and it seems like we're moving in a direction where we need to be more fiscally responsible. So, speak to us about that. Certificates of obligation. What are your feelings about that? We just had a couple of bond issues for the health of our children. Several years ago, we built the Children's Hospital. That continues to grow, which is allowing our children to stay here and get professional quality care, so we didn't have to send them off to San Antonio or Dallas or the Mayo Clinic or somewhere else. So speak to us about the direction that you would take the city in terms of these hot button issues.
Well, our city budget is about $1.3 billion.
Right.
And 57% is on public safety. The next 13% is on quality of life. And then after that is infrastructure. And so I know that as we dig deeper into the budget, the answers are going to be there. The budget is very complex. It's over 900 pages.
Correct.
With line item after line item after line item.
I didn't read the whole thing, but I just, yeah.
And I plan to, if as a
Well, you
city
have
council,
to,
yes,
yeah.
I plan to, and I plan to understand it and know it, because I do think the answers are there. We do need to look and see what is essential and what is not essential. We have to tighten our fiscal belt, just like you would your own personal budget.
Absolutely.
If you are wanting to aspire to do a major project or attend a major vacation, you start to look at your budget and you try to start saving. Well, we need to do that. We didn't get here overnight. The situation we're in, we didn't get here overnight as far as our taxes are concerned.
Right.
70% of our taxes are on the homeowners and the taxpayers. My goal is to figure out how can we balance the homeowner with the corporations and the businesses and the companies. We have to move the needle and at least balance that. I can tell you San Antonio is the opposite. 70% is the tax base is on the companies, 30% is on the homeowner. Now, can we get there?
And so what that does is it creates a better quality of life. They're able to invest more in their parks, in all of the quality of life, which we know, really helps a community thrive. So we need to flip that around where we're not doing these giveaways all the time with these incentives, and be able to require of these developers, hey, when you develop a new property, you need to have a park. You need to have the infrastructure that is going to support these houses, that are going to elevate the community and make sure that the city and all utilities can also put that into, our urban planning, right? That all has to work together, but we can't do these giveaways, which is another part of your campaign. City council shouldn't be for sale. The mayor shouldn't be for sale. So it shouldn't go to the highest bidder and one that's going to reflect all the developers or favoring the developers over the people. And so that's where the electorate comes in, saying, okay, District 1, it's up to you to choose the person that is going to be with you, por la gente, for the people, with the people, in your words, as you're saying, Ms. Monica, or someone who's representing other interest.
So I will tell you from the get-go, day one of my campaign, I was all about making sure that we look at freezing those property taxes. We make sure that we continue down the same path that City Council has done for the last 2 years and not raising the taxes in the city entity, mind you. Certificate of obligation is only for emergencies, only for crisis, only for tragedies, only for weather issues. I don't believe in certificate of obligations to utilize for large projects. And that's what I want to continue to proceed with, is to say, if we are going to look at a major project, which hot topics have been the deck park, the multipurpose center. If we are looking at things like that, then the voters need to tell us if that's something that they want to do. I am not going to make that decision to say I'm going to raise your taxes because we need to have this particular major project or large project. And if we are looking at something like that, then we need to look at resources. I want to make sure that the voters and the residents understand what that entails, what the expenses are, so that they make an educated choice. And that's what happened with the multipurpose center. The voters went to the ballot and said, "Not today," and I get it. So yeah, it is about making sure that our residents have someone in city council that is speaking on their behalf and trying to balance between what we're doing as residents and homeowners and taxpayers and what our companies are doing. Absolutely.
So if you get involved in city council, you're able to win this race by 57 votes, and you get in there. And I just came up with that number. Yes, because it is going to be close in December. This is not top of mind. They're thinking about the holidays. They're thinking about what they're going to do for their family and friends. Are they able to travel and being around family? So if you get on city council, what would you do to make El Paso destination El Paso, to make this a place where you could bring in business, you can bring in cultural tourism. You mentioned it before. We live in this mecca here with 2.5 plus million people on an international border where we are multiliterate and multilingual, and we have a different cultural understanding and an awareness of that. And so if you get on city council, what will you do to highlight El Paso and to make El Paso, a destination for people to come to?
I really believe that as a team, as city council, we will all bring different perspectives. Every single council person will bring a perspective. And I think that everyone has an opportunity to highlight what El Paso means to them. As I've talked to residents, they are asking for amenities. They are asking for quality of life. And I think being in the hub right now of an international commerce with New Mexico and El Paso, and then I-10 being such a vital artery of transportation. Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to highlight that, but we need to work on our branding of El Paso. We need to make sure that we are having virtual conferences and highlighting what El Paso has and can help your corporations. So that's one. I think we also need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support our small businesses. We have a lot of small businesses that are up and down I-10. And so as the I-10 expansion begins to happen, we need to make sure we're supporting those small businesses, because construction can take away from that traffic flow to their areas and, could possibly hurt them. So I want to make sure that we are sustaining what we have. I also want to make sure that we are looking at what we do well and continue to make it better, improve it. Our downtown, I know we're looking at revitalizing that. What is it that we already have that's good, that's great, and what can we do to make it even better before we start looking at other projects? That's another thing. But I know that we've got to highlight Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss is 60% of our economy. We need to highlight Fort Bliss. We need to make sure that we are looking at becoming one of those areas where healthcare and healthcare support and studies can be done. We need to look at technology. We are able to be in a state right now because of where we are with the providing technology in support of software, defense. So there are things that we already have that I don't think we have worked to improve. And if we can do that, I think we can also sustain maintaining the companies that are here now, but also bringing some new ones. The other thing I want to do about companies coming in is making sure that we do develop partnerships. We develop trusting relationships with them, El Paso and the company, so that if they are being provided an incentive, once the incentive is over, they don't take off. And that's happened because they've taken off to the maquiladoras. They've taken off to another area and said, okay, well, let me see where I can get another incentive. So I really want them to dig their heels in and say, El Paso is an amazing place. We want to continue to do business here. So, and that's what we're supposed to do as a city council, is to be that ambassador to say, come and let us show you what we have here. Let us show you the workforce that we have, the people that can support you, the economy that will support you, and you'll want to stay.
Very well said, Ms. Monica. Thank you so much. I've seen your door hanger here. You're obviously qualified to run for city council. 30 years in education, in administration, in budget, in finance. Congratulations for all of that. And it's clear from our conversation today that you have a grasp of the budget, of the city budget, and of hearing and listening to your constituents, your future constituents, hopefully. But it is important, as your flyer says, as your website says, that you are qualified. And if we can take out some of this funding out there, if the people come out and vote, then you'll be their next city council rep. So thank you so much for this privilege and honor to be with you. Again, for those that are joining us late, I'm visiting with Dr. Monica Reyes. She's in a runoff for District 1 City Council, City of El Paso. Dr. Reyes, thank you so much for this time.
I appreciate it. And again, El Paso, December 14th is election day. We do have early voting December 2nd through the 10th. I know it's Christmas time. I understand the hustle and bustle. I'm trying to do the same thing, but it is an important time for us to be able to tell our story and give your voice. And so please go out to vote. We really need to hear from you all. Thank you.